I'm Daniel Lockley, self-proclaimed carpaholic and lover of all things carping. I'll be travelling to day ticket venues across the length and breadth of the country to fish them waters and hopefully catch some monster carp along the way. I'll be sharing my rigs, tips and tactics, give you an insight into how I do things, hopefully give you guys some inspiration along the way. I'll be sharing info on the venues that I fish and documenting everything that's going on in my sessions. So come join me on the bank with Camo Life Carping. Bosh! Oh, Jesus. And so the day had arrived for me to get to Bluebell Lakes and hopefully catch some of their pristine carp. After an extremely unsociable wake-up call, I dragged myself out of my pit, got ready and put the kettle on, hoping that a nice brew would wake me up. Dan, meanwhile, would still be in a sweet slumber as he lives closer to Bluebell than I do. At least that would mean he wouldn't be late, would it? Surely. I was tired after only 3 hours of sleep, but the excitement of what was to come was soon waking me up and I'd shortly be on the road heading north to Peterborough. So I set off from my place in Hallavington, Wiltshire, and started the 125-mile drive to a venue that I've wanted to fish for so long. As it was so early, the roads were clear and the drive was a pleasant one. I started to daydream about what would happen in the next 48 hours. Would me and Dan have a PB? Would we catch one of the named fish? The anticipation was killing me and I just wanted to get there. Roughly halfway there, and I still hadn't had a call from Dan to tell me he had left. I started to worry that he had slept through his alarm. I arrived on time and Dan was running 30 minutes, fashionably late as ever. What's happening, carpaholics? Thank you for joining me on another episode of On the Bank with Camo Life Carping. The time is 6 in the morning and I've driven 2 hours and 40 minutes up to Bluebell Lakes in Peterborough. I'm being joined on this session by my brother Dan, who does loads of work behind the scenes for us at Camo Life Carping, but I've not actually got out and fished with him for an episode ever, and it's been a while actually since I've fished with him at any time. So looking forward to him getting here. He'll be here in about 20 minutes. So yeah, should be good. All last night and this morning I've been absolutely buzzing. No matter how long you've been fishing, when it's getting close to a session, you just get that proper buzz, filled with excitement and anticipation at what's to come, especially when you come somewhere like Bluebell. I mean, there's always a chance when you're here that you could catch your PB, and you could even possibly bring in one of the infamous Bluebell carp. There are loads of big uns in the various lakes here. So yeah, just to have a chance at catching one of them would be immense. I mean, obviously the biggest fish of them all is no longer around. Benson, you know, that was well over £60. What a fish that was. although Benson isn't here anymore, there is still plenty of absolute bangers in here. So yeah, like I say, I'm just waiting at the gate, waiting for them to open. Got here nice and early so we can be one of the first ones in the shop to get our stickers to put on the buckets. I'll explain the system a bit later on, but for now I'm going to get off, wait for my brother, and then I'll catch you in a bit. Bosh!
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. What I meant to say was good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Carpaholics. I owe you an introduction. My name's Dan, and I'm James's brother. Been lurking in the background on Camo Life Carping, doing bits and bobs, bit of the merch, stuff like that, but you haven't actually seen me fishing yet. I have been out on a session since it all started, but I didn't film it. So this is the first time you see me, and I'm out with James, and you join us on Bluebell Lakes, which is near Peterborough. There's 5 lakes on the complex, I think, is that right?
Mallard, Bluebell, Kingfisher, San Martin, Swan, yeah.
So we got here this morning about 6 o'clock, gates open at 7. So we were nice, bright and early. We thought we'd get to the front of the queue, get down to the shop as soon as it opened, get our ticket. It works on a bucket system here, so you get a sticker, you take your bucket round, you look for a swim, put your bucket down in a swim, and then you've got another 2 hours from then to kind of have a look around the rest of the complex and make sure you've chosen the right place. So we got down there first thing, didn't quite go to plan. We
went on a mission.
Yeah, well, it's our first time here, so we had a look around every lake, but it was absolutely rammed. So it's a Thursday now. Kids have gone back to school. We thought, happy days, it's going to be nice and quiet. Not the case at all. It's absolutely rammed. A few of the lakes didn't have any swims available. Was it Swan? Mallard, sorry, had probably about 5. That was kind of the lake that we'd both thought we'd probably end up going on. So we had a good look around there. There was about 3-4 swims available, and they weren't the best.
Found one, didn't we? One swim on there.
Yeah, but it was smack bang in the middle of 2 other anglers. It commanded quite a bit of water, but there was the bailiff that has his caravan in the swim to the right. So he's constantly fishing in that area, and then there was a guy just to the left, and it was a double swim, which is what we were looking for. But after having a walk around the rest of the complex, we came across the lake we're fishing on now, which is Bluebell, which is kind of the class as the runs water, I guess, but there's still fish over 40 pound in here. So we found a swim on the way past here, put our bucket down in it just to secure it in case we didn't find anything else. And then if you carry on just up the road, you've got Kingfisher, which is one of the kind of big fish waters, but it's not been doing very well at all lately. So here we are. We decided to come in this double swim, peg 9 on Bluebell.
Yeah, you failed to mention that whilst walking around Kingfisher, we saw Adam Penning, and I was like,
oh yeah,
a teenage girl that had just bumped into Take That. Back in the day, I was proper excited, but he was chatting to someone else, so I never got to chat to him, which I'm pretty devastated about. But we move on.
We might get an opportunity later on in the session.
Yeah, give him some tips. Yeah, no. So yeah, we're in here now. It took us a while to get set up and stuff, and we haven't done any filming up until now because we wanted to get the rods out and get fishing. So yeah, we're fishing now. We've baited up an area. So the maximum amount of wraps you can fish from this particular peg is 10 wraps, which is halfway across. So straight away we clipped up at 10 wraps, had a lead about, and actually at 10 wraps, it's just turning from a silty area going into gravel, sort of on the second drawback of the lead. You then start to feel real hard knocks as the lead's dragging across the gravel.
Yeah, it kind of goes from soft to a bit pebbly to real big chunks of gravel.
Yeah. So we've decided to stick at the 10 and fish the area just as the silt goes into the gravel. We don't think it's too raised, so it's not an issue fishing the far side of it as we are. See one just bosh out over the other side, out of our reach, unfortunately. So yeah, we've found the spots, we've put some bait in, got the rigs squared away, which we'll chat through later. And we've also got a margin rod each. So Dan's got the left hand side of the swim, I've got the right. We've both got a rod down in the margin, just in case they produce anything. What's happening, guys? So I'm gonna take you through where me and Dan have got our rigs out. We have changed one little thing. So we were getting a couple of liners and we saw some fish showing a bit closer in, so we both took our margin rods, brought them in. We found a spot at 8 wraps, which is 2 wraps shorter than where our main spots are, and baited that up and put both of our rods that were in the margin onto that spot. So we're both fishing that same spot with 1 rod each, and our other rods are still in the position that they were before. The sun has been beaming down this afternoon and there have been loads of fish cruising on the top, and it's a proper tease when you see them all cruising on the top right over where your bait is, but your bait's like 14 foot down. There's a couple of guys opposite that were trying floaters, and they were at that for 1.5 to 2 hours and they had no luck whatsoever. So we decided not to bother trying that. We thought we won't put zigs out either. We just staying persistent with the spots we've got. Well, Dan has just hooked into a fish. Don't know if you heard that, but he said he thinks it might be a bream. Well, that is not what we wanted. Yeah, it's not really doing anything, is it? Oh, a bream. Wounded.
Didn't have to handle the slime. Happy days.
Oh, well, a little bit of excitement and then
At least I know the rig's working.
that's it, mate. Onwards and upwards. Right guys, so I'm going to take you through the mix that both me and Dan are using for this session. So first of all, we've got some Dynamite hot crab and krill boilies. Now these have been soaked in the hot crab and krill liquid for about a week now. So they've soaked up all that attraction. So as soon as that mix goes in, it's going to leak and the carp are going to love it. So that's the first thing in there. Okay, next thing we're going to put in there, again by Dynamite Baits, are some krill pulses and particles. So we're going to get a good helping of that in there. We can test and adjust the amounts as we go along, so it's not an exact science. Next thing, good old hemp seed. Love using hemp seed in most of my mixes. Another staple of any mix that I use really is good old tin of sweet corn. So get the whole of that in there. Just gives it that fleck of colour to go along with the flavour attraction that goes in there. Going to bang some marine halibut pellets in there as well. Obviously these will break down at a bit of a different rate to everything else that's in there. So you get some attraction that leaks out quicker than others, and I think it just prolongs the amount of attraction that's in the swim throughout your session. So good helping of them in there. Happy days. Oh, they're 4mm pellets, by the way. And then from Sticky Baits, I've got this pure natural betaine, and this just adds a bit of natural attraction in there, along with all the other stuff, and it's quite nutritious for the fish as well. Not that much in there. You want about 20 grams per kilo, something like that. And then last but not least, a little bit more of the hot crab and krill liquid attractant. Obviously the stuff that the boilies were mixed in with in the first place, that's now soaked into the boilies, so that will slowly leak out. By putting a dash of this in there right now, then that's going to disperse through the water columns as soon as it goes in. Give that a good old mix up. And then the end product, a lovely carpy, absolutely stinking mix.
troops, bit of an update. So the only action so far, as you would have seen earlier in the video, was bream team. Dan hooked fish. When the alarm went off, we were both like mega excited, and then he picked it up and he said straight away he thinks it's a bream. Lo and behold, it was, but luckily he didn't have to deal with the little ball of slime because it came off right at the bank. We're not too bothered about that, are we?
No. Felt like a dustbin lid, so I knew it was a bream straight away. I was either bringing in a bream or bringing in a welly.
So after that, we decided to bring the rods in, redo them. So I've now moved, well, we've both moved all of our 3 rods onto our spots. My right hand rod is now on a pink Pacific tuna pop-up. My middle rod is on a snowman, and my left hand rod is on the pop-ups that we were using earlier, the hot crab and krill. What are on yours?
So because I had that bream, I decided to up the size of my hook baits, or at least on 2 of the rods. So we were using 15mm. I've gone up to an 18mm pop-up on my right hand rod, and the only pop-ups I had in that size were yellow citrus. There are munch baits pop-up, citrus blend, that's one, so yellow citrus blend. And then on the middle rod I've got a bottom bait, again went up to an 18mm, and the only boilie I had 18mm bottom bait wise was a munch baits cream seed. So that's on the middle rod, and then on the left hand rod I've left on the pop-up that was on it, which is a match the hatch crab and krill pop-up, and that is on a choddy, because it was my kind of chuck to showing fish rod, but there hasn't been that many fish showing other than over our spot, so that's kind of just stayed in the margins, and I've now just banged that out onto the spot as well. So we've got 6 rods all across that gravel, I say gravel bar, but that gravel patch that runs across the swim.
Happy days. So
it's got to be a bite.
It's got to be. Like I said earlier, if it ain't, I may as well fucking get in there and take it myself. So yeah, we've got a whole variety of different stuff going on now then. Different sizes, different colours, different flavours, so they've got a bit of sweet and savoury now. So they went back in, and then we put a few more spons each over the spots, so the traps are all set for tonight. Light is fading rapidly, so we got it done just in time, I think. And,
yeah, we weren't going to do any more spotting, but due to me having a bream and seeing a lot of fizzing over the spot, we thought it could be a case that the bream are kind of have moved in, cleared us out, and then hopefully we've put some more bait out, and hopefully the carp will start moving in place of the bream. So that's all we can kind of gather from what's gone on at the minute today.
So we're gonna kick back, wait for one of these alarms to go mental, which I'm sure they will at some point, and have a couple of tinnies to chill out. And yeah, we'll get back to you in a bit. See you later.
See you later.
Alex. So it was a really quiet night last night. We were so confident that something had happened. Like all through the day we saw fish above where we were fishing. The bait was spot on. The rigs we know were presented properly, and so everything was looking good for a bite, but nothing happened. And then this morning, one of Dan's rods went off. What happened there?
Another bream. Like I said before, I'd rather blank. And this one didn't come off at the net either, so I had to net it. So now my net's full of spunk. But I suppose, again, at least we know the rigs are working, or at least I know that rig's working. So that was on, we changed, when I got that first bream, we changed to 18mm baits to try and stop that from happening again, but this was a big bream. Obviously didn't deter it, so.
Fat bastard.
Yeah, fucker.
But so we have changed it up a tiny bit. Last night I had all 3 rods out on the spot, but now I've put one of them on a solid bag and I've chucked it down the margin underneath a tree. Just some boilie crumb and a few small pellet in there with an oven special wafter. And then on the spot I've still got one on a spinner rig with a crab and krill pop-up, and another one with a crab and krill bottom bait and a Northern Special 12mm pop-up balancing it. So that's a wafter, and that's on an ID rig. You've changed it up a tiny bit as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so I was using multi-rigs just because it's easy to change from bottom baits to pop-ups. But because we've had nothing, you know, over a day yesterday and overnight, I decided to change to just an old faithful bottom bait rig, which is like a standard knotless knot hair rig with a bit of tube on the hook, just kind of acting as a bit of a blowback. And then I've put some PVA mesh bags. I kind of threaded the hook link through a stick full of pellet, attached that to the main line and chucked it out like that. So I've got 2 both on those rigs with 15mm bottom baits, match the hatch, crab and krill. And then on the left hand rod this morning there were a few fish showing probably only 3 rod lengths out, just down to the left, off the front of some overhanging willows. So I've stuck the left hand rod on that, just still on that choddy that was on there before, because it's a bit silty down there, and that's on a match the hatch 15mm pop-up.
So yeah, so we've done that. We've put a bit more bait over the top of the spots, just in case it did get cleared out last night with them dodging all of our hook baits. But our mix is now gone, so we need to make up some more of that, and then sit it out, see if the small changes we've made have made a difference. We were talking about moving this morning, but it's Friday morning now, and a load more people have turned up, and it is absolutely rammers. Like I can't, from where we are, I can't see any free swims on this lake. When we got here yesterday, all the other lakes were ram-packed, so I can't see them being, you know, I mean, people will have left, but they would have been taken this morning. I've seen probably about 10 people already walking around this lake this morning looking for a spot. So
it was hard enough finding decent swims at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday.
yeah,
So doing it at the same time on a Friday morning ain't the one.
yeah. So we're going to stick it out here, and hopefully something comes good. I mean, you know, although they're bream, you know, it shows that the spots you're fishing on are right and your rigs are working. More than that can be said for my side at the minute. But
Well, we know they're presented.
yeah. So yeah, we'll just stick it out, keep topping up the bait little and often, and hopefully one of them trips up to a trap. But yeah, for now that's about it, and we'll come back with another update a bit later. We will show you the rigs at some point that we're using.
We'll give you a bit of a walk around of our area as well, just to show you what's cracking off there, and then show you what body of water we're fishing, and where our rigs are. And
yeah, so keep watching to look out for all that stuff. Until then, we'll see you in a bit.
Afternoon, guys. Just thought I'd take you through the swim we're in on Bluebell Lake. Just show you around so you can see our setup. The fish just boshed out in front of us. So if I just take you down to the water's edge, show you how much water we've got out in front of us. Look, we've got a maximum 10 wrap distance we can cast on this swim, which is basically just halfway to the other side, and that's where we're fishing. So on my side, I'm on the left hand side of the swim. That's the unhooking mat. Got the rods on a new Avid lockdown low rod pod. I did just have bank sticks, but it was a nightmare getting them into the ground on any of the modern swims. Seemed to be too hard, so this you can just put anywhere. And we've got the waders, which we've not really had to use yet. Spod bucket. There's James's rods. And we've got quite a steep bank up to where we've got the bivvies in the social area. And James has got his unhooking mat up here with the scales. Not used in anger. James's bivvy's not in too bad of a state at the minute. Usually it's a bit of a fucking admin nightmare. There's a little social area. And then we've got the Camo Life Carping mobile headquarters in the background. I could have used to sleep in, seems as we can park right behind the swim, but it's not very carpy, is it? So, bash, got the bivvy up. See you later. So I've got some business ideas, joint venture business ideas. Alright. Come on, see if you've got any. First one I was thinking about was, obviously everyone uses spons these days, and bait boats. But when you're spawning or using a bait boat, all your feed goes down into one small area.
Yeah.
Even if you're fishing like quite deep water, there's a spread, but there's not much of a spread.
Right.
So, how about a spawn that opens as the line hits the clip? Called a cluster spawn. So you bang the clip, spot opens, spread a bait in a larger area if you want the fish to keep feeding around in a larger area.
I suppose that's a decent idea for because when you're boiler fishing, predominantly you're creating a spread, ain't you? Like with a throwing stick or something like that.
Yeah, but there's no way of doing it with pod.
No. Even with go back to boiler fishing, if you throw it with a stick, sometimes they go fucking awry.
Oh, yeah.
But if it opens
It's hard
over a
to-
certain spot, you still get the spread, but in the area you want it to be. I reckon that's a fucking decent idea, mate. But you'll have to try and find a way, because if it opens when it hits the clip, the same kind of force, I imagine, is put on it when you cast. So there's going to be
Yeah, so I've thought about this. So you could have a loading mechanism and a trigger mechanism. So it's a double, some sort of double spring. So when you cast, it loads it, and then when it hits the clip, it triggers it. I mean, I don't know how that looks on paper, but in my head it sounds good.
what about a contraption so when you get a run, a lot of times you get done and you don't know about it. What about a contraption that automatically hooks the fish as soon as it bites, that's got massive spiky bits coming out the side of it?
That sounds
Perfect to drag in shitloads of weed.
fantastic.
Yeah, I was thinking about, I don't know, calling it something like the magician's stick. I reckon that's decent.
I don't think any lake would ban that.
Oh no, it's totally perfectly safe, viable idea. Yeah, yeah.
Another one on the baiting front. Got the idea for the spot, but then
Knocked your bobbin off.
sort that out in a minute after I told you about it. Spanking idea. Bait boats. We've still got the issue with baiting in a small spot with a bait boat. So sure some sort of grass seeding device exists that's like a lawnmower, a push along thing where the rotor spins and it flings out loads of grass seed. So if we can get one of them, take it apart and find out how it works, and then find a way of bastardising the bait boat, that mechanism on top. So you press a button, you got all your particle in it, you press a button and it just flings out the particle. I don't know what you're laughing at, mate. That's a pretty good idea.
Could work, I suppose. Some faraway galaxy.
Not could, would.
I'd buy it. Yeah, I'd buy it. I reckon a sensible price for that would be about
$2 grand.
2.5. Got to add the carp tax. Yeah, I'd buy that.
So when you think it's like an extra 250 quid or more on a bait boat to have GPS, I'd rather have a spinning seed flinger.
Morning, guys. It's about 6:15, and it's been another quiet night. Not even a liner. Nothing. Dan's still getting his fat head down. I'm gonna wake him up in a minute. But yeah, speaking to a lot of people on here, and hardly anyone has had anything. Bloke next to me, he's been on since Wednesday, and he had his first one out yesterday, only £14, but he said that was the first bite that he had. So we've only got a few hours left on here. Hopefully we get something in that last few hours, otherwise staring the third blank on a trot in the face. But that's how it goes. Right, I'm going to go get a brew on and I'll give you another update a little bit later. Catch you in a bit.
So James's alarm's just screamed off. He thinks it's a bream. And it is. Bloody bream. Not what we wanted.
Fuck's sake.
There you have it, guys. A slimy little bastard. Sounding, guys. Potentially the last video on Bluebell. Nothing's happened unless we get something while we're packing up. James had another bream, which you'll probably see when the video goes out. But yeah, it's been hard going. Nobody on the lake's been catching. Carp just aren't having it. Obviously the bream are. Time spent. Beautiful mornings like this, on lakes like this. Still not bad. If we don't see you with a fish before we pack up, catch you next time. Bash!